Well, I'd like to welcome everyone today to the CM First webinar. And our discussions today are about extracting business rules and why those things are important. Our company as a whole has done quite a bit with helping companies figure out what they've got in their applications, what they're going to do with those applications, and being able to provide not only documentation but guidance into what they're doing with their coding and development as they go forward. So with me is so my name is Roger Jip, and I always forget to introduce myself, but I am business development director for CM First and CM First Group. And then along with me today is Roger Hammer, who heads up technology and services. And every call that I'm on with him, he knows lots more things than everybody else knows. So he's a good guy and a good expert with us today, and is going to lead the technology portion of our presentation. So I don't know if you want to say hello, Roger, but there's that.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, everyone.
All right, and let's kick the slides off. Okay, so our company as a whole, and I don't know how many of you have heard of us before you got a notification or an invite or noticed us on LinkedIn, but our company is all about helping companies retool their applications and their business systems. So we've been doing a lot of this development for a long time. So we've been around since 2010, and we've got over 400 customers across the globe. I was asked about this again yesterday. So we have offices in France, Vietnam, and Central America. So we cover a lot of the globe ourselves, but we've got customers everywhere. And then the group of us that are on the call today are here in the US. So we also have partners that includes Broadcom. And Broadcom is a company that has provided to us a series of technologies. So we are a primary support organization for companies that are doing things with Plex or 2E or sign-on. And those are kind of our three global account products. We also have IBM as a partner. We have PTC, and we have Fortra as a partner. So those are our primary partners. And then as you can see below there, we've got a list of recognizable company names that we work with, and then a lot of companies that people have never heard of. So it's kind of an interesting organization. Why do we focus on modernization? Why do we think it's important? It's primarily because what our customers are thinking about and what they're doing, but our team is focused on and is thinking about the technology that we're providing. So our folks are technologists, and they know both legacy and current and state-of-the-art technologies as well. So our technology, some of the technologies we support go back 30 years plus, and some of the technology that we're supporting that Roger's been working on are things that are just now coming out around AI and other sorts of experiences there. We also come from a development world, so we understand DevOps and Agile. We understand how to build products and solutions and work within your organizations. So we have some projects that we work on where we do the work, some projects where we guide our customers, and other projects where it's a hybrid of both those things. We have a very good, successful track record. So we do have referenceable accounts. Some of them are listed here, but that's a very small fraction of referenceable accounts. And probably the last thing on here that interests a lot of folks is we'll do a fixed bid, and we'll also guarantee our work. So that's kind of unusual for a company in the technology space to say, we're going to do a fixed bid and we're going to guarantee our work. So we're going to get it right, and you can feel confident in that as you begin working with us. The companies that we're dealing with, and just to give you some sort of profile, why do companies come to us specifically? We have a lot of companies, since we're dealing with mainframe and IBM I series, and we're dealing with COBOL and RPG. A lot of our companies have those older legacy applications where their experts have either retired recently, are in the process of leaving, or have just gone on to do some other things. So they don't have the people there that can provide them a transition path or even a support mechanism to be able to support applications. So all of a sudden one day they look up and they say, hey, that mainframe that's sitting over there that's got those COBOL apps running on it, what's going on with those apps? Or I talked to a VP of a bank the other day, and they have hundreds of COBOL applications. They just don't have an easy way to really uncover and understand what each one of those applications is doing, and if they've got to fix it, if they've got to update it, if they just want to know what it does, they don't have any way to figure that out. The next thing is there documentation? So a lot of our customers are in a situation where they've got systems where there's no documentation. They may have developers sitting around that maybe have worked with some things, but they don't have full documentation. They don't understand what those systems are really doing, both from a business flow as well as from parsing those pieces of data out, what's really happening. And so they're lacking in documentation. And we come along and we scan those applications and we provide that documentation for them. The last thing is we've got folks and customers out there that they've got new users, they've got customer updates, they've got company updates, and they want to update what those applications are doing and how they're doing it. So there's change going on, both from a business process and a business rules perspective. Or a lot of our customers are starting to look at what is AI all about? What's it going to do for me? How do I understand it? And we really jump in and provide them a lot of detail that helps them begin to really understand what that's all about and where it's going from a business development perspective. Next. So Roger, you want to take it from here and give them some architectural underpinnings and what we do?
Sure. Thank you, Roger. And so, yeah, I want to talk a little bit about what is evolveIT. We're going to talk today about extracting, finding business rules in your applications. And so how do we do that, right? evolveIT is a static analysis tool. We take your source code, in the case we're going to talk about today, a mainframe application, but you may have a mainframe, you may have an IBMI application. As Roger said, you may have a CA2E or CA Plex application, or you have COBOL on your IBMI, right? All those things are things we can work with you on. So we extract the information from those source code and models through a deep parsing process. We bring that data into our metadata database and a graph database in evolveIT, and we provide lots of ways to analyze that information and also ways to output that information. And we'll show you some of those here coming up. So let's talk a little bit about understanding legacy systems through business rules extraction. There's lots of ways to analyze legacy systems. We're going to focus in on business rule extraction today. We're going to use AI to accomplish that. And so the key to this process is going to be identifying where and what you want to extract. The challenge with this is obviously your code is very old. You've got COBOL, JCL, DB2, IMS. You may have obviously the similar items, CL, COBOL on IBMI, and you don't have probably much documentation. Or if you do have documentation, it's likely very out of date, because as we all know, once you produce documentation, it doesn't take long for it to become out of date. The business logic is varied across many times millions of lines of code, and certainly there are ways to manually scan and analyze that source code, but it's very slow. It is definitely error prone, and it's very expensive. It takes a lot of time to understand that information. And when it comes to business rules, you're not looking or needing every line of code. You just need the elements of that code and the way the data flows through that code to understand how those business rules are implemented. In the end, your organization needs clarity. You may be planning modernization or some kind of a migration, or you may be doing, some business rules and process modification. And so having that information is a big help. Why do they matter? They help define how your organization actually operates. How the business runs, how the application runs, and the interfaces between those are very important. They drive your decisions, they calculate information and output, and they provide validation and workflow information. This helps with your application modernization. Maybe you're planning to move to a cloud implementation, or you have compliance issues. You want to make sure you have a way to work through audits and be compliant. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, redesigning your processes. You need to know what's happening in the application. So all of that can be accelerated by understanding your business rules. So as we talked earlier, evolveIT, static analysis platform, parsing all the different elements. I've listed many there for the mainframe, similar for IBMI. And we can generate business rules, data lineage, process flow information, or do basic impact analysis to find where components, how they interact, and where the functionality in your application resides. We then produce human readable documentation without any execution. So we do that deep parsing and dependency mapping. We identify, and when we parse, as I said, we parse deeply. So we parse all the statements of your source code, understanding all the conditions, the calculations, assignment of data, the validations that happen in your code, and we understand how the file and database interactions happen. We convert all that technical information into the natural language business rules using AI, and we'll show you that just in a few minutes. So an example is, a rule that might be related to a customer that's eligible for a premium rate if their balance is a certain amount and they have a certain type of account. The COBOL is going to have, lots of lines of code, and you'll find where that business rule resides, and then having traceability, being able to look at how those business rules were created. The key benefits, being able to do this quickly and accurately is very important. When you're even just starting a project, being able to do that impact analysis quickly, and rather than spending hours or days on that work, being able to do it in minutes and get the information you need so that you can move into either communicating the information to management for preparing for the project, or actually beginning the actual work of making changes in the application. It's going to cut your modernization times and really all of your project times quite a lot. It's going to eliminate your reliance on kind of historical knowledge. And many times we see, you do have maybe developers that have been around a long time, but things change quickly many times in the application. So really having the knowledge of exactly what's there today many times is not really true. And of course, the accuracy of that documentation, being that it's based on actual parsed compiler-like information that gives you the facts from your source code, is important. So it'll give you that confidence to do the work that you need to do. Okay, let's jump into the demo. And so I've got our CM evolveIT tool here. This is our dashboard. You see the lines. Those lines will actually adjust as you add new source code and show you how things have changed over time. But it's going to provide the basic metrics and statistics about your application. In this case, we've got a little under 800 programs. We've got some complexity metrics here over the whole application. We can drill down and look at that within any individual component. Even the number of statements, rather than lines of code, since we parse the source code like a compiler, we can tell you exactly how many statements in the source code. And of course, that doesn't include all the blank spaces in your code. Number of copybooks. So all of these elements that are useful from a management perspective to manage the application and to look at how it changes over time. So let's dig into business rules extraction. I'm going to start with a field. And so what we want to do is we want to, in this case, I'm going to use our text search tool. This is an elastic search capability that is pre-indexed, so it's very fast. So it's going to give us a result here. If this application was 10 times larger than this, it would take literally, maybe a second longer to get that result. So it's not spinning for many minutes to get the information. But what we've done here is we've found all the locations in the code where this field is used. And so from here, we have the ability to select these components, and we're going to create a group. Creating a group allows us to put this group of code together and keep them so that we can analyze this group of code on its own. So from here, I see that we have 2 copybooks and we've got 1 program. So if I go in and look at the copybook relationships, then I find, okay, well, I've got 1 more program that I really need to add here to my group. And so I can do that just by selecting that group to add that additional code into my business rules group. Okay. And then, we can look at the other one here, and it's got the same program, nothing there to add. And I think we already had, let's go ahead and add a few copybooks, although these are probably the same in this case. And let's go ahead and add our JCL and our job procedures. So we'll assign those to our business rules group also. And so all this code is getting added into our group. And now we can go to our asset group feature, and we can look at our business rules and see what's in our group here. So we've got all the job procedures, copybooks, programs, and the JCL. So everything together here. And so, we've used a very quick process where we found the field that we're interested in and where it gets used to identify this group of code. And I can do, a number of things with this. I can build diagrams and reports. So for example, if I want to go in here and look at how this application is built, I can begin to add the JCL and see how that's related. Okay, we can add any call programs. And so this one has a number of programs. And so there's a lot of these are IO programs. So I'm going to skip over those, and I'm going to keep the programs that I know are named that have kind of the functionality and logic related to them. And so now I've been able to build a diagram to share kind of the context for the work that I'm doing. Okay, let's come back to our grouping here, and I'm just going to consolidate the group and go into our AI analysis capability so we can have an AI conversation here. And what I'm going to do is literally select the whole group, and then we've got built-in prompting. We've got a whole set of prompts here around starting with business rules, converting code, explaining code, getting all the information that we may want from this particular application. But I'm going to stick with the business rules extraction, and we're just going to execute and analyze the source. So this is an AI agent-based process that's going to analyze each of the elements of code. It's going to look for what this prompt has defined, which is understanding the business rules throughout these applications. And then it's going to generate some explanation and a number of business rules. And you can see it's broken it up by program and even broken it out by copybook to some extent there. And if we go to the top, it's giving us some explanation about what the different components that are included. It's providing a condition action approach here, telling me which program, where these business rules reside, and then breaking out the conditions and the actions that make up each of the business rules. and for the first program and then the second program. And so I have this sequential process that defines how these business rules were or where they are and what they are. Once I'm here, I can do really anything I want because I have also the ability to switch to chat mode. And so I'm going to ask one more question interactively here, and I'm going to say, give me an analysis of the JCL files that, oops, typo there, that flow to the business rules. So we're going to request, so now we're going to go look at the JCL in COBOL to understand how those particular files are flowing into our business rule information. Okay, so now we get quite a lot of information showing, very specific information about the jobs, the job procedures, how the sys in and outs are working, specific file information here, and the exact information about the way those files are flowing into the programs and impacting the business rules that were created. So you can interact with this and get all the information you need and just literally copy it off the page here. We also have the ability to save these documents and download them. Okay. One other thing I want to show you is another aspect of our tool for documentation is the ability to go to what we call evolveIT. These are metadata and AI-driven automation that allow us to understand any aspect of the application. In this case, I've already pre-opened, but you can see I've got some documentation here that I can just click on the view. And this is a workflow document that gives me the top level view, in this case, one program, and a summary description of what that program does. And for each program that is called, it's giving me that same summary. We can generate this same document with the business rules available in the same kind of a view. So nicely formatted documentation, and also the capability to interact and identify what it is that you're looking for, whether it's impact analysis, business rules, whatever you may want. All right, I'm going to go back to our slides here, and we're going to drop down to our Q&A session. Bring this back up. If you have questions, sorry, I keep switching on. Please add your questions to the chat window, and we will be glad to answer them. So maybe I'll answer one question that people do ask many times, and that is, how do we implement and get our code into evolveIT? We many times will do small POCs with a small set of your code to show it to you. We typically do that in a cloud implementation. You can hire in the cloud, and you can also have an on-premises implementation that we can provide. The install will walk through and actually complete all of the what we call discovery, parsing aspects, and get you fully up and running and trained, whether it's in the cloud or in your local environment. All right. I don't see any other questions. If you have questions, feel free to email. You've got Roger Jip's email address there. You can email any questions you may have. We'll follow up. If you'd like your own personal demonstration or a small proof of concept, let us know. We'll work with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think thanks for all that, Roger. I think it was very helpful information. And one thing I was thinking about as you were going through there too is we have a lot of customers right now that are either hiring COBOL programmers to backfill with the senior folks leaving or retiring. We've also got folks that are moving over to Angular or other, C# or something else. And a lot of times they'll use us as the in between to go through and say, okay, let's pull out and extract all this detail about these COBOL applications, put it into some terms and documentation and visuals that then those newer developers can take and build the new applications with the new code level too. So those are things to
That's
think
right.
about. And I think the whole
That's right.
idea of continuity of your employees and what they do and how they do it. So I think those are good things too. But and we'll,
Yeah.
as Roger said, we'll do the, if you have some question about it, we'll sit down and do that first project and we'll do it for no charge and kind of help you with that first app and make sure you understand how it works. And because we got some people that they want to learn how to do it themselves and figure things out. And it's not one of those point and click you can do right out of the bat like that, but you can get through some training and then go from there, or have us actually get involved. And you got other projects you're working on and put us to work on the stuff that's the older legacy stuff. So that's it.
All right.
Well, thank you very
Thank
much
you,
for your
everyone.
time. I appreciate it. And thanks, Roger, for your presentation, and hope everybody has a safe and healthy rest of your day.